Okay, good evening, guys. How are you doing today? Good evening, online. Good evening. Okay, so let's jump on. So, Malibulus. So, what did we discuss in our last class? EC2. Ready for shootout? So, what is the full form of EC2? Elastic Compute Cloud. So, EC2 is regional or global? EC2 is regional. And so, what is the definition of EC2? EC2 is a web service which provides resizable compute services in the cloud. So what is meant by resizable here? Scale up, scale down, scale out, scale in also. Okay. So how many hours are free per month? 750 hours are free per month. So EC2 billing cycle is every 1 hour, every hour. And also, if you stop the EC2 instance, is it billable? If it is running, if you terminate, no. Okay. And what are the different types of pricing models we have? Number one, on demand, reserve instances, spot instances, dedicated host, dedicated instances, capacity reservation, savings plan. Super. Very good. Which one is fixed price on demand? And is there any upfront payment? Any commitment? Okay. Any predictable usage? No. So which pricing model has commitment? How many years? 1 or 3 years. Okay. So do we need to do the upfront payment there? Yeah. In reserve instances, yes. How much discount that you get? 72%. And what are the two types we have in reserve instances? Standard array and then convertible array. Very good. Auctioning, bidding, spot instances. So in spot instances, how much discount that you get? 92%. And can you lose the EC2 instances? Yes, 90. What did I say? 90%, not 92. So, and can lose the EC2 instances? Yes. So can we say this is the cost-effective pricing model in EC2? Yes. And then we have dedicated host. So generally by default, tenancy is shared or dedicated? By default, it is shared or dedicated? By default, it is shared. If required, can you go for dedicated? So if you go for dedicated host, can you control the placement of EC2 instances on the multiple hosts? Yes. But coming to dedicated instances, your instances are in dedicated platform, but do you have the control on the placements? No. Very good. And then we have capacity reservation. So can we reserve the capacity in each availability zone? Yes, we can. And then we have savings plan. So savings plans is same as reserve instances, but it has a little different strategy. It is reserve, the savings plans is more flexible. It is more flexible than reserve instance. In reserve instances, you cannot change the type, this type, and then you cannot change the tenancy and all. But here in savings plan, you can do, it is flexible. However you want to do, you can do it. And then we discuss about instance types. No, instance type is the combination of CPU and then memory. So which is the instance type that we should be using it? T2 micro. Which one? T2 micro. So T2 micro has how much GB RAM? 1 GB RAM. How much CPUs? 1 CPUs. Do you expect a good performance with T2 micro? Oh, no, it is 1 GB RAM. How do you achieve scalability in AWS? By changing the instance type. So you need to excuse me for this cops. Okay, please don't mind. Yeah, because when I hold my breath, so that kitch will come. Not I want. No, I don't have habit. Okay, this. But yes, I also have it. Thank you. But while after the class, give me and go. Why should I? Okay, give me. Huh? So and uh, yeah, yes, online. I was talking to offline people. They are very concerned and they have a lot of affection on me. Huh? And online too, sir. Huh? Nice. Okay, so by when you're doing scalability, okay, scalability can be achieved. Um, yeah, thank you. Online, yes, I too. I said, yeah, yes, Kavya and everyone, yeah. Uh, so can you change the okay? So scalability can be achieved by changing the instance type. While changing the instance type, can you do it when EC2 is running? No, what you need to, stop the EC2 instance. You need to stop the EC2 instance and then change it. Okay. And when you're doing scale up and scale down, is there any data loss? No, no data loss. Nice. And then we discuss about burstable performance instances. Whenever we hear about burstable performance instances, keep that in mind. What is the two words? CPU credits. What's that? CPU credits. So in the runtime, AWS will automatically provide the CPU credits to the machine so that it will give a good performance for longer period of time or limited period? Limited period of time. Is it free or billable? It's billable. So this is what we have discussed in our last class. So let us move on to today's class. Online, can you please confirm, can you see my screen and can you hear me well? Okay, ma. So today, let's talk about little bit deeper topic. We already know this topic, but we go deeper into it. So do you know the topics of volumes? Remember volumes? What are volumes? Hard disk. Volumes are nothing but hard disk. So these volumes are, what volumes are these? EBS volumes. Remember EBS? What is EBS? Elastic block storage. These are EBS volume. Basically, volumes are two types. What are those? We have two types of volumes. What are those? Root volume and then additional volume. Superb. So while launching the EC2 instance, you will get the default volume. What volume is that? Root volume. What does the root volume contain? OS. And then you have the rest of the volumes are called additional volumes. The rest of the volumes are called additional volumes. బాబు ఇది ఒకసారి టైట్ చేయండి ఆన్ అండ్ ఆఫ్ అవుతుంది ప్రొజెక్టర్ ఇదా వస్తుంది పోతుంది ఓకే సో root volume and then additional. So volumes anytime can be attached and volumes anytime can be detached. So we have learned. And what is the maximum size of the volume? Maximum 16 terabyte. Very good. Can you increase the volume size on fly? Yes. But can we decrease the volume size on fly? No, we cannot. So we have learned all these things. Okay, now another question. You have EC2 instance which has EBS volume attached. Which one? EBS volume attached. And if you stop and start the EC2 instance, data is lost. Huh? No, because it is EBS volume. The volume is stored onto the data is stored inside the EBS volume. If you stop and set, data is lost? No. If you reboot, data is lost? No. But if you terminate, data is lost. So now let us go. So one question, in convertible array, can possible to scale out? Yeah, of course you can. Margaret, you can. Scale out meaning increasing the number of machines. So you can purchase the reserve instance. Let's say, for example, you have T2 small. Can you purchase this T2 small 10 machines for 1 year? Yes, you can. Yes, of course. Yes. So you need to reserve not based on the number, you need to reserve based on the instance type and the number of it. So today what we do is, let us go a little bit one step upper, Nana. Let us go one step upper. So volumes are classified into two types. Volumes are classified into two types. Number one, we know this. What is this? E-base volumes. And then number two, we call it as instance store volumes. What is that? In shortcut, ISV. Which one? Volumes are classified into two types. What are those? E-base volume and which one? Another one? Later, louder. Instance store volume. In shortcut, ISV. ISV. Okay. So this EBS volumes, can we say it is persistent storage? What is the meaning of persistent? Persistent meaning what? Permanent. Persistent meaning permanent. So if you stop and start the EC2 instance which has EBS volume attached, data is lost? No. So the data inside the EBS volumes is persistent. That meaning permanent. Until you go and delete, data will be there forever. So can we say EBS volume is a persistent storage? Persistent storage or permanent. So persistent and permanent. So what is the meaning of persistent? If you stop and start the EC2 instance, data is lost or not lost? If you stop and start, data is lost or not lost? Not lost. What is the EBS volume maximum size? Maximum size is 16 TB. So how much is it, free or billable? Billable. EBS is billable. How much size that you use, that much bill you need to pay. So it's not free, but we discuss this. If you launch a Windows EC2 instance, what is the default size that you get? C drive, 30 GB. And for Linux, 8 GB. So this is free. And on top of it, how much ever size that you mentioned, that is all billable. So EBS is billable. Okay. So now let us go a little bit deeper into this EBS volume concept. So we have learned a little bit on EBS volume already, right? Root volumes, additional volumes, all are EBS. But today, let's go a little bit more deeper into the EBS volumes. So basically, there are different types of EBS volumes. There are different types of EBS volume. There are different types of EBS volumes. There are different types, Nana. Because yesterday I told, we have instance types, no? Everyone will use the same instance type, huh? No, everyone have their own requirement. I need more memory, go for related instance type. I need more storage, go for it. I need more CPU, go for it. I need more graphic related, go for it. So we have different instance types are available for each and every requirement. Here also, whenever you are launching the EC2 instance, we have the EBS volume. So that EBS volumes also has different types. There are different types of EBS volume. I'll write those. Number one, we call it as general purpose. What is that, Nana? I'll write first and I'll done. So shortcut is GP2, GP3. And this is SSD volumes. This is for general purpose. Number two, provisioned IOPS. Don't worry, we'll discuss this. IO1, IO2, SSD is for high. Next is throughput. Call it as ST1, STT. This is for frequently accessed data, cheaper price. And next here we have hold SC1, which is STT, which is not frequently accessed data. Next one is magnetic standard STT. Okay. So don't worry, I'm there for you to inject this in your brain now. No, there are so many, here. Yes or no? There are so many, but let's see how I inject in your brains now. Okay. So now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how many different types, how many types of EBS volumes that we have? 5 types. How many we have? 5 types. Say with me. Number 1, general purpose, provisioned IOPS, throughput, cold, magnetic. How many are there? 5 are there. Can you come again? General purpose, provisioned IOPS, throughput, cold, magnetic. I'll say it again. See here. General purpose, provisioned IOPS, throughput, cold, magnetic. In shortcut, in general purpose, we have 2 types. We call it as GP2, GP3. In provisioned IOPS, again, we have 2 types. IO1, IO2. Next, ST1. Next, SC1. Next, standard. Okay, now you need to sing a song with me. I'll be injecting your brains, okay? You need to follow my instructions. Sing a song with me, okay? So there are basically how many types are there? 5 types. So inside this, again, we have, so in general purpose, again, we have 2 types. So we call it as GP2, GP3. These are called shortcuts. For general purpose, we call it as GP2, GP. You no need to say all the time general purpose. You can call it as GP2 or GP3. So now you need to say like this. GP2, GP3, IO1, IO2, ST1, SC1, standard. You need to follow the same rhythm. Okay? You will now I'll inject in your brains again. See see here and listen online carefully. Next, start. GP2, GP3, IO1, IO2, ST1, SC1, standard. Now you tell me. GP2, GP3, IO1, IO2, ST1, SC1, standard. Now injected. So it is very hard to remember this. Then now, within 1 second, you remember now. Now you tell me one more time again. GP2. Easy, no? Right? So we have these different types of volumes we have now. So remember, SSD is faster or HDD is faster? SSD, no? Obviously, all your phones, all your laptops, everything is SSD. HDD meaning hard disk drive. What is that? Hard disk drive. And SSD meaning solid state drive. So which one is faster? SSD is faster. Now, which one are SSD? General purpose and provisioned IOPS. These 2 are SSD. Rest are all HDD. Now you tell me which one are faster? General purpose and then provision IOPS. If you need to have a very good performance, then go for general purpose and provision IOPS. And if you need like a kind of performance, then go for throughput, cold, and magnetic. And remember, if you want, let's say for all general purpose, Now I launch my EC2 instance. I want to put an application, not general purpose. Which one would you choose? General purpose, you can choose. You can go with GP2 or GP3. But maximum, the default volume type is GP2. Which one? Whenever you're launching the EC2 instance, automatic root volume will come, no? That root volume also should be one of the type, no? And what is the type? GP2. What is the default volume type? GP2. I need to have extreme high performance. Then which one would you go for? Provisioned IOPS. Which one? Provisioned IOPS. What is the full form of IOPS here? Input output per second. What is that? Input output per second. So basically, for provisioned IOPS, let's say I have launched one EC2 instance and I want to install database inside it. Database needs super high performance or not? Now tell me which EBS type will you choose? Provisioned IOPS. In provisioned IOPS, you can go with either IO1 or you can go with the IO2. But remember, as these are provisioned IOPS, you need to give the values. IOPS values you need to give. What you need to give? IOPS values you need to give. Let's say, for example, you have selected provisioned IOPS IO1. AWS AWS will ask, Babu, you have selected IOPS. No, tell me how many input output per second you need. How many input output per second? You need 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, like this, 80,000. Like this, how much? 80,000. So like this, how many IOPS that you need per second, we need to mention. For which one? IOPS, provisioned IOPS. Now, provisioned IOPS are IOPS configurable. Agree? Agree? We need to enter the values, IOPS values. And throughput is there. Let's say you have a requirement, you launch an EC2 instance, and frequently you're using the data. Where is your data? In the volume only, no? Frequently you're using it, but you want in cheaper price. Then which one would you go for? Throughput. Which one you go for? Throughput. Now, you launch an EC2 instance and you are not using the data frequently. Which one would you go for? Cold. And I don't care about the performance. I want cheaper price, but I don't care about the performance. Which one would you go for? Magnetic standard, which is it's previous generation. You cannot expect having a good performance there. Getting it? So which is the default volume types? Which is the default volume type? GP2. Which one? GP2. What is the full form of IOPS? Input outputs per second. Remember, Nana, IO1, IO2, and GP3. Which one? IO1, IO2, GP3 are IOPS values configurable. Values configurable. Values configurable, that meaning whenever you select provisioned IOPS like IO1, IO2, and GP3, AWS, Babu, you have selected GP3. Tell me how many IOPS that you need for this. 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, like this. How much? 80,000. Now also it has increased. It has increased. Getting it? So which one are IOPS values configurable? GP3, IO1, IO2 are IOPS configurable. GP2 is IOPS configurable? No. But AWS will give you 1:3 ratio for GP2. How much? For 1 GB, AWS will give you 3 IOPS. For 1 GB, 3 IOPS. What is the ratio? 1:3. Let's say if you have 10 GB, how many IOPS that you get? 30. If you have 100 GB, 300. Automatically, for GP2 IOPS values will get added. Is it configurable? No. Automatically will get it. What is the ratio that you get? 1:3 ratio. You're getting it. You're getting it. So here, the more IOPS values that you input, to which one are IOPS values configurable? IO1, IO2, GP3. Are IOPS configurable? No? the more IOPS that you put, the more performance you will get it, and the more bill also you will get. Yes or no? If you want to have super speed, obviously you need to have that much superpower engine. If you have that superpower engine, you need to pay more money for that engine. You're getting it? So, and also, root volume by default, which volume we get? Root volume. Root volume by default, which volume is that? GP2, no. But root volume supports GP2, GP3, IO1, IO2, standard. Root volume supports what volume types? GP2, GP3, IO1, IO2, standard. Except ST1, SC1. Does ST1, SC1 support root volumes? No. These are all certification questions. So root volume supports what volume types? Answer? Online, put it in the chat. GP2, GP3, IO1, IO2, standard. And there is another one. Additional volume support what type? All type. Additional volume support all type. But root volume supports only GP2, GP3, I1, IO2, and standard, except ST1, SC1. Clear? Should I write all these things that we have learned? And can you tell me, finally, can you sing me that song for me? What are the different types of ABS volumes are there? Yeah. So, yeah. Simple. Looks you guys are happy. Very nice. Which one is default volume type? GP2. GP2 is a default EBS volume type. What's the full form of IOPS? Input output per second. Which one are IOPS configurable? IO1, IO2, and GP3. More you input IOPS values, the more performance and bill you get. GP2 has what ratio? IOPS? Default. 1:3 ratio. That meaning 1 GB contains 3 IOPS. IOPS not gone. And root volume supports what volume types? Order this GP2, GP3, IO1, IO2, and very good. Root volume doesn't support ST1 and SC1. And additional volume supports all. Is it clear now till here? Okay, na? Super. Generally, one volume can be attached to multiple EC2 instances at the same time. What is your answer? Answer is No. One volume cannot be attached to multiple EC2 instances at the same time. But that we have learned that one volume cannot be attached to multiple EC2 instances. But now I am saying, yes, you can attach. Which one? IO1, IO2, that too recently came. Which volume types can be attached? Which volume can be attached to multiple EC2 instances at the same time? IO1, IO2. That meaning which one? Provisioned IOPS. And you know how many EC2 instances that you can attach one volume? 16. How many? 16 EC2 instances. If you launch, one volume can be attached to multiple EC. How many? 16 EC2 instances at the same time. I didn't told this in our previous starting basics classes because you will get confused. Now it is the right time to tell. That too, this feature came very latestly. So which volume supports multi-attached? IO1, IO2. IO1 and IO2 are can be multi-attached. Kavya is asking, sir, so by default we get GP2 root volume, but we can change it to GP3, IO1, IO2 as standard. Is that correct, sir? Yes. By default, you will get GP2. Can you change it to any other type? You can. It's up to you. Attach the same EVS volume to multiple EC2 instances at the same time in same availabilities. Up to how many EC2 instances? 16 EC2 instances at a time can be attached. Sir, IO1, IO2 have default IOPS? No. IO1, IO2, Ibrahim, IO1, IO2 are IOPS configurable. That meaning you need to give the value. How much? It's up to you. Okay. How much great performance that you need, that much values you need to increase it. Is it clear till here, everyone, on the EBS volumes? How much deeper we have learned here? So there is one question here from Vital. Sir, previously you said one hard disk cannot be shared with multiple laptops. Then how the AWS achieved this in IO1, IO2? Yes. That is the reason why I said in our starting days, I said one volume cannot be attached to multiple EC2. But AWS came with the new feature, which one is IO1, IO2, that can be attached. But the question here is, do we need to really worry how it is working in the backend? Not required. So one volume can be attached to multiple. That is also new feature. That is also new feature. Okay, coming to what is the another volume type that we have? Say that. Instant store volume. Say that. You need to get habituated with your mouth. What is that? Instant store volume. ISV. Which one? ISV. Instant store volume. Now, EBS volumes are persistent storage. Yes or no? But instant store volumes are not persistent storage. Not persistent meaning temporary. Not persistent meaning here temporary. Okay. If you stop and start the EC2 instance, which has instant store volumes, data is lost or not? Data is lost because those are temporary volumes. Those are temporary. Okay. Yes, you can use that also. Kavya. That is EFS is for Linux, but this IO1, IO2 can be on Windows and Linux both. Not persistent storage. Temporary storage. FSX is for Windows separately. That is for, that uses NFS concept. This is volume concept. So guys, if you stop and start the EC2 instance, which has instance store volumes attached, data is lost or not? Lost. If you stop and start the EC2 instance, data is lost or gone or deleted. Because these are temporary storage. What are these? Temporary storage. And by the way, very good thing is instance store volumes are free. Free. Instance store volumes are free. When I say good thing is, that's free. Huh? Okay. Instance store volumes are free. And instance store volumes in another name, it is, there is another name for instance store volume. I'll write the name and you need to tell me what is that name. Huh? What is that? Imperial Blue. Uh, huh? Ephemeral. Ephemeral. M silent. Ephemeral storage. What is that? Ephemeral storage. So remember, this is a certification question. What is the another name of instance store volume? Say that. Ephemeral storage. What is that? Ephemeral storage. M silent. Okay. So Nana, I'm asking one certification question. Think and answer. Okay? Think and answer, everyone. Online. If you terminate the EC2 instance, if you terminate the EC2 instance, by default, root volumes are also deleted or not? What is your answer? If you terminate the EC2 instance, by default, root volumes are deleted or not? Answer is yes. So should I take the logic? You will answer. Okay, see. Let's assume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many EC2 instances? And it has its own volumes or not? How many root volumes are there? 5 root volumes are there. Now I'm saying for you, if you terminate the EC2 instances, root volumes are by default deleted or not? You said yes or no? You said yes or no? Answer is yes. Answer is yes. Because if you terminate the EC2 instances, root volumes will also be deleted. If it is not deleted, how many volumes will be sitting in the backend? Why? What is the use of it? No use, no. Unnecessarily, you are paying bill for that. If you terminate the EC2 instances, by default, your root volumes also will be deleted automatically. Because there is an option called delete on termination. What is that option? Is enabled. Delete on termination is enabled. What is the meaning of delete on termination? When you terminate, delete it. So that is enabled for the root volume. That is why if you terminate the EC2 instance, automatically root volume will also be deleted. And another question, if you terminate the EC2 instance by default, additional volumes will be deleted or not? Answer is no. Because root volume has an operating system. Would you put the data in the root volume? No. Where do you put the data? In additional volume. So if you terminate the EC2 instance, additional volumes will be deleted automatically. No. For that, delete on termination is enabled or disabled? Disabled. For that, it is disabled. For that reason, if you terminate the EC2 instance, root volumes will be deleted automatically, but additional volumes are not deleted automatically. Because what is the option that you have? What is the option that you have? Delete on termination. Say that. What is the option? Delete on termination is enabled. Okay, there is another interview question. Interviewer asked, If I terminate the EC2 instances, I know that root volume will be deleted, but I don't want root volume to be deleted. How do we do that? Simple. Disable termination on protection, disable it. If it disable it, what will happen? It will not be deleted, it will be there for you. Can you make additional volume to be deleted automatically also? Yes, it is just a matter of changing the delete on termination, enable, disable concept. Clear? Super. Online, is this clear, Chitty? Yes, sir. So if you terminate the EC2 instance, by default, root volume will also be deleted because what option, Nana? Yes, delete on termination is enabled. Same. If we terminate the instance by default, additional volume will not be deleted because delete on termination is disabled. No, no. If you want root volume to be retained, what we can do? Disable it. If you want the root volume to be retained, and disable delete on termination while launching the EC2 instance. Is it clear, guys? So what is the maximum EBS volume size? 16 terabyte. And instance store volumes are free or chargeable? Free. But the question is, if it is instance store volumes are free, sir, how much? How much size? Yes or no? Instance store volumes are also a volume, no? Right? How much size it contain? Remember, we cannot create instance store volumes. We cannot create instance store volume. Automatically, AWS will attach instance store volumes to your EC2 instance. So instance store volumes are created by whom? AWS. Do we have any control on creating the instance store volumes? Answer is no. So AWS will give this instance store volumes as complimentary. These temporary volumes, no? Complementary. So that too, they will not give. When you launch T2 Micro, will they give apart from root volume, will they give instance store volumes for T2 Micro? No. If you go for bigger machines, like X large or R family, M family, bigger machines, instance types are there, no? Bigger instance type. If you go for bigger instance type, automatically instance store volumes as a complementary AWS will give. But for small, it's depend. I'm not saying for small machines you don't get. For small machines also you'll get. But for T2 Micro you don't get. But maybe in T3 large or so in another families, AWS might give you instance store volume. But here the question here is it possible for us to create instance store volumes? No. Instance store volumes are created by AWS. So how do you get the instance store volumes? By selecting the certain instance types. You will get for all instance type, you will get instance store volumes. No, only for certain instance type, mostly bigger instance types. If you select it, automatically instance store volumes will be attached to it. Clear? So here I'll write, based on the instance type you select, mostly big instance type or certain instance type, you will get the instance store volume automatically attached by AWS for free. Nana, is this clear? Online, is this clearly here, everyone? Question for you. I have EC2 instance. I have EC2 instance with EBS volume attached. If I reboot, data is lost or not lost? Data is not lost. So I'm writing here. Reboot, data is not lost. Okay. I have EC2 instance with instance store volumes. If I reboot, data is lost or not lost? Data is lost or not lost? Everyone. So reboot, data is not lost. Data is not lost. So now everyone have this question. Sir, why? Kaiku? Enduku? So generally, in any other trainings, they don't take this topic at all. But as I want to give you more additional knowledge, so you want to basically, actually, this is not at all required. But are you interested to know why when I reboot data is not lost? Are you interested or not? Yes or no? Online. So you want this topic? Okay. So now, as you are very interested and as you are also energetic, for that reason, I also share more and more knowledge to you. Now, the concept here is for instance store volume, if you stop and start, data is lost. But if you reboot, data is not lost. Array, why is the question that everyone got. So let us see how AWS is handling in the backend. Should we see how AWS is handling in the backend? So I'm not talking about people that generally AWS people will learn. No, I'm talking about that AWS data center host machines in the backend. Should we talk about the host machines now? How AWS is handling it? Okay, see here. So assume that I have 2 host machines. How many host machines? AWS will have only 2 or they'll have many? Many. So, but I'm taking only 2. What you have in the bottom? Hardware. Hypervisor. On top of it, EC2 instance. Very good. Can you say this is one host machine? Who is handling it? AWS. This is also AWS. And what you have here? Hardware. Hardware. On top of it, hypervisor. Hypervisor. Okay. So let us see what is the difference between your EBS volume and then what is another one? Which one? ISV, instance store volume. Okay. Listen this carefully. There is one logic that AWS is applying. I'll tell you that logic. Listen this carefully. So Chitti, what you did was you went and launched EC2 instance. You went and launched EC2 instance. This is EC2 instance. And this EC2 instance also has a volume attached. What volume is that? Root volume. What volume is this? Root volume. What volume is this? EBS volume? EBS volume or not? So did we learn EBS is a central storage? Yes or no? EBS is a centralized storage. If you want volumes, create volume and attach to EC2 instance. So what you did, you created a volume. A volume is created. and you have attached to this here. No, okay. Correct or not? Okay. So you created a volume in EBS and you have attached to the EC2 instance root volume. That can be root also, that can be additional also. Basically, it's EBS volume. There is a logic in AWS. If you stop and start the EC2 instance, what will happen is EC2 instance will jump from one host to another host. That's the logic AWS is following in the backend. Again, if you stop and start, what will happen? Jump or no jumper? Jump. When you stop and start the EC2 instance, what will happen? EC2 instance will jump from one host to another host. Okay, see here. Now, this is jump. Now I have stopped and start. What will happen? It will jump from one host to another host. Okay, it is jumped. Now, EC2 instance has jumped. How about the volume? Volume also will jump or not? Okay, but this is the centralized storage. No, this is the volume is actually in the EBS central storage or here? EBS central storage. So here volume will not jump. It will just, the pointer will change here. Yes or no? The pointer will change because EBS volume is centrally storage. No. So you have a central storage EBS volume. If the EC2 instance has jumped from one host to another host, the EBS volume will be generally for server 1, it is looking, now it is looked to the server 2. The pointer is changed because the volume is centrally, it is EBS centrally. Is that clear? So if you stop and start, what will happen? Jump or no jump? Jump or no jump? Stop and start, what will happen? Jump or no jump? Jump. Now tell me, now EC2 instance has jumped from one host to another host. Data is lost? Data is lost? No, because data is stored centrally in the EBS volume. The pointer is changed. That's it. Data is lost here. No, data is not lost. This is what you said. If you stop and start, data is not lost. Okay. Another logic here is if you reboot, it will not jump. It will sit on the same host machine. If you stop and start, jump. If you reboot, no jump. Say that. Stop and start, jump. Reboot, no jump. So as I say, reboot, when I reboot, no jump. Now tell me, as it is sitting on the same host machine, data is lost? No. That's why I said here, data is not lost. That's what you said. Reboot, data is not lost. Yes or no, no? Okay. Now, coming to instance store volume. Listen this carefully. What I did, I went and launched one EC2 instance. Okay. This time, I'm not attaching EBS volume. I'm using which one? Instance store volume. Now, you know, instance store volumes will be created and attached by whom? AWS, no? You know the logic what he's using? Now, this is the host machine. It also has a hard disk or not? Host machine will have a hard disk or not? Yes or no? Yes. Host machine has a hard disk. And this means also every host machine will have its own hard disk or not? Yes. Every host machine will have its own hard disk. Okay, see here. Whenever you use instance store volume, what will happen? You know, a piece of hard disk is attached from locally to the EC2 instance. The volume is central volume or local volume? It is local volume. So from the physical host machine, directly the volume is getting attached to the EC2 instance. Now let us apply the concept. If you stop and start, jumper, no jumper? Jump. So now you tell me here. Now EC2 instance is now jumping from here to this machine. EC2 instance is jumped, guys. Now tell me, if you stop and start, EC2 instance has jumped from this machine to this machine. The data is stored locally on this hard disk. Can you tell me this will jump from here to here? That is a physical, no. That is a physical hard disk. So that meaning it will not jump. So whatever the data that you have will be remained over here, and EC2 instance jump from one host to another host, and a fresh new volume will get attached locally here. That meaning data is lost or not lost? Lost. So if you stop and start, jump or no jump? Jump and data is lost. Okay, let us take another scenario. If you reboot, jumpa, no jumpa, no jump. So the EC2 instance will be sitting on the same machine or not? As it is same machine, the data is lost here? No. So reboot data is not lost. You see the logic? Super logic, no? Many of the people, 80, 90% people don't know. Right? So this is, if you reboot, no jump, data is not lost. Clear, Anna? Whenever you terminate, what will happen? Terminate, data is lost or not? Data is lost. For it can be instance or also it can be EBS also. Is it clear, this concept? Everyone? Huh? Okay. So now, what we do is we go to the AWS console and there will be a button called launch instance. What is that? Launch instance. You click on launch instance. How many steps are there to launch EC2 instance? 7 steps are there. So you configure the 7 step and you click on launch. AWS will help to launch the EC2 instance or not? So it will launch. Who will launch the EC2 instance? AWS will launch. We will just click, hey, AWS, I want machine. So AWS will trigger the code and then machine will be ready. When AWS has launched the EC2 instance for us, they will do 2 checks. How many checks are there? 2 checks. We call it as status check. What is that? AWS will launch the EC2 instance and he will do the status checks. There are 2 types of status checks. Number 1, instance status check, system status check. Say that. Instance status check, system status check. Instance status check, system status check. So instance status check will check the hardware, whether EC2 instance is properly launched or not. System status check will check the software, whether IP address is assigned or not properly. So how many checks are there? 2 checks. We call it as status checks. What does we call? State. So now tell me, these 2 status checks should be passed or not? If any of the status check is failed, can you log into the machine? Can you log into the machine? No. So you launch the EC2 instance and Pusuk, you got 1/2. How many should be there? 2/2 should be there or not? How many checks are there? 2 checks. So 2 checks should be passed. So that means you need to get 2/2. But if you get 1/2 or 0/2, can you log into the machine? No. How to resolve this? Why you get 1/2 or 0/2? Sometimes because logically, whenever you launch the EC2 instance, it will go and sit on the host machine or not. If the host machine is not in a good condition, can your EC2 instance will launch properly? No. That's why you get 1/2 or 0/2. And what will you do if you want to correct it? Will you terminate and launch a new one? Or you stop and start? You just stop and start. If you stop and start, what will happen? It will jump from one host to another host and your machine will start working. So is this every time will you terminate the machine? You might be having data inside it. Is good to terminate. So the mantra is stop and start. If you stop and start, what will happen in the back end? Jump from one host to another host. So it might be in a bad host. Now it will change to the good host where your machine will work properly. So if you get 1/2 or 0/2, what is the solution? Stop and start. Which one? Stop and start. How many status checks are there? 2. there are two instance status check. Instance status checks. What is that? We call it as instanced. I should not call it as. There are two status checks. Number one, instance status check. And another one, system status check. Instance status check will check the hardware. System status check will check the software. 2/2 checks are passed. You should get like this. If you have, can you log into the machine? Yes or no? You can log into EC2 instance. But if you get like this, can you log into the EC2 instance? Huh? You cannot log into EC2. If you get like this, can you log into the EC2 instance? You cannot log in. But what is the solution? Solution is stop and start the EC2 instance. In the backend, EC2 instance will jump from one host to another host. You got this point, everyone? Who will do the status checks? AWS will do these status checks. Is it clear on the status checks, everyone? So if you want AWS to automatically to do 2/2, there is a concept called recover. What is that? You can stop EC2 instance, you can reboot EC2 instance, you can terminate EC2 instance, you can recover EC2 instance. Recover meaning, if you get 1/2 0/2, if you click on recover, automatically will get recovered. Okay. So I'm asking one certification question, think and answer. Which one will give high performance, EBS volume or instance store volumes? Think and answer. Which one will give high performance, EBS volume or instance store volume? So very good. What you said is EBS. Excellent. Now I'll tell you the logic. EBS volumes are centrally stored. Your EC2 instance is there. Somewhere you create a volume in EBS. Through network, you have attached to the EC2 instance. An instance store volume is immediately is there with the host machine, which is very near. You tell me which is near. ISV is near or EBS is near to EC2? Then who will give the good performance? Then ISV will give the good performance. No? Logic. The data will be stored in the network somewhere through EBS. EBS volumes are network attached drives. Whereas instance store volume is, it is immediately under you. Instance store volume. That is a physical machine has the hard disk. No, for that reason, you will get the answer is instance store volume. But is it good to use instance store volumes? No. Which one will be using? EBS. But as a logically, if they ask in certification, which one will give good performance, then select a ISV. But are we responsible for the data? I mean, AWS is responsible for the data? No. Who is responsible? We are responsible because if you put the data inside it, Pusuk, if you stop inside, data is gone. Who is responsible? You only. Because AWS already said to you, Babu, these are temporary volumes. Do not put the data inside it. If you put also, don't, if you stop and start, data is lost. But of course, which one is robust and reliable is EBS. But as a part of certification, I'm saying this. Write down. So EBS volumes are network drives with good but limited performance. If you need a high performance hardware disk, use ISV. But risk of data loss if hardware fails. Backups and replication is customers' responsibility. Clear, Anna? Everyone? EBS is elastic, ISV is not elastic, right? So EBS could be the better for performance because of auto scaling. You are talking about the quantity, Kavya, not quality. Yes or no? Kavya is saying, sir, EBS is elastic, no? You can have 16 terabyte, whereas instance store volume has only limited size. And for that reason, you'll get the high performance. No, we are not talking about the quantity. We are talking about the quality. So because EBS volumes are network attached drives, no, somewhere the data is saved in the centralized storage. Whereas ESV, meaning EC2 instance, on the host machine itself, you'll get the hard disk. So you'll put the data very fast on the local drive. Kavya, that is for you. And is this clear, everyone? Nice. I'll stop it here. Okay. Any questions? Guys, do you understand how deeper we are going? Right? So we have to be, you should be very happy that we are going very deep. We are not leaving a small individual topic also. That's what I say all the time. As we are going this much deep, for that reason, in any kind of screen test that Naresh IT worldwide they are conducting or anywhere, Riyaz sir students are toppers all the time. Here also, I told you already, in Naresh IT also, if you see it, 50 members got selected. Out of 50 members, maximum 30 people, and top 10 are Riyaz sir students only. Because that is that much deeper that we are learning. Any questions anyone can ask in and out also, we know the topic. Focus on the logic. Logic is important. If you know the logic, everything is nice. Take the screenshots. Okay. Hold on. So she want, hold on. Okay, take it. Ganesh, status checks, there are two types, Ganesh. Because we will trigger to launch the EC2 instance, AWS will help us to launch the EC2 instance. When it launch, AWS will check two checks. Those are instance status check and system status check. Whereas it will check whether the instance has properly launched or not, IP address is assigned or not, everything is properly or not. If this 2/2 these checks are passed, then only you can log into the machine. If any of the check is failed, you cannot log in. But if you want to log in, you don't need to terminate the machine and relaunch it. You just need to stop and start. So that if you stop and start, what will happen? You'll jump from one host to another host. Maybe it might be on the good machine, good host, so that a machine will be, checks will be passed. Okay, nice. Very good, Ganesh. Okay, Nana. Can I give the final CC for today, please? CC with smile. Yes, Rajesh, take it. So we are going very slow. I think this is okay, correct? We are going very slow, deeper, no hurry, right? Aram se will do it. So that is all, guys, for today. And I'll see you tomorrow with the next topic. Until then, take care. Bye bye. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow. Good night.